Oh man, we just had a very interesting phone conversation, and it's weird when you talk to people that's in the industry and you really don't know how they're in the industry because they're like, and I was like, oh man, I didn't know. I knew you was into fashion and all of these different things, but I never knew like you were, rubbing shoulders with Diddy and Kanye West, Kim Kardashian, and it's wild. I'm like, wow, this whole industry is crazy. But it just never crossed my mind, when you got family members or friends that that you call family and they're in what you would call they're in what you would call it's work for them. But they're in the industry where they deal with fashion, so they run into these celebrities. I didn't know that they were at that level. A lot of people do fashion, they don't run into Diddy, you know. Yo, I need 5 shirts. I want tangerine. I want one that's taupe. And then I need mauve. Oh, man. And you got some Grey Poupon while I wait. Oh, man. But anyway, this is the real reason why Cassie left Diddy. Cassie was ready for a family. Diddy wanted a family and felt he already had one, but did not want to go through with the entire did not want to go through the entire process of dealing with Cassie. He wanted to go down an avenue of I want to do with what I'm doing, and that's that. That was the point of that. Diddy wanted to have total and undeniable control. Now, the friend of mine that's in the fashion thing, and I won't put her name out there and ruin her job, told me that she did work for Diddy in the past, and he had hit on her before. I believe it, and she was not going for it, and he was very respectful. He kept trying to like invite her and give her opportunities with other people, to bring some money towards her that would make her more, like acceptable to being with him. And she just was not interested. And he kind of pulled the plug on a lot of things that she was working on. So, did not know that to this phone conversation today. And it's very interesting. I haven't talked to this person in a while. And since I saw their family members over the weekend, and we had this conversation, it was pretty interesting. Now, Diddy, like I said, is a control freak. And because he's a control freak, he has certain demands of people. He thinks everyone really works for him when they really don't. And even if you don't, he try to make it as if you do. and he wants something, you know, he goes all out to get it. And for Cassie, you know, she was just impressed with, you know, diamonds and flash and all of these things because she was young. But the older she got, she wanted to be put in a circle or in a bracket where, you know, she's claimed. And they had this big fallout many years ago where Drake and Diddy gets into it because Drake was ready to give Cassie what she wanted. And even though she was still going to be with Diddy, she wanted a career. She was like, I need to be out there. And Drake was influencing that as he was the hottest artist in the game. And he was just, you know, like, look, let's go out and have a great time, go shopping and all these things and work on some projects. She was excited to be able to work with Drake, but Diddy didn't have control over that. And he wanted that control. And you going to move when I say move, and I'll make you a star. Just stay with me. So after the Drake incident, and he put a kibosh on Drake working with her, she was going through depression, you know, and just tired of being kept. And she wanted freedom. So she ended up jumping out of the car from Diddy as they were coming from a party. And Diddy, I mean, they were in like the middle of an area where it wasn't, you know, she shouldn't have been out there. She's got on $500,000 pair of earrings. You know, she's got a purse that's worth about 10 grand. You know, the dress, everything. So Diddy's like, look, get in the car. This ain't a good area. She didn't care. And she said she would scream if he come there. She's calling a cab to come pick her up. So a cab picks her up. She goes back to the house. She said, I'll go back to the Diddy said, you know, you can go at the house. I'll leave the house. So she goes back to the house so that, you know, Diddy would be at the house. Then she went to her mom's. She packed some things and went to her mother's house. And Diddy wanted her to come back to the house and promised. He sent her diamonds. He sent her necklaces, all these clothes, material things. And, you know, as she was at her mom's house, she's starting to realize, like, man, like, she doesn't have anything. Like, I need to get back to that life. So she takes Diddy back because Diddy's like, okay, this is what we doing here. But Diddy is missing the point, and he's missing the signs. She wants to be accepted. You know, she's like, it's cool, we do business together or something. But look, we need to be together. If we're going to make this, we need to make it real. You know, it's like Diddy wouldn't marry her. She wanted to be married. She wanted to be an honest woman. She wanted to have what Jay-Z and Beyonce had. They had a marriage. Diddy didn't believe in that. Diddy believed in doing the Goldie Hawn. Her, Goldie Hawn, and Kurt Russell, all these years together, never married. Never married. And they've been together like 30, 40 years. They got a house right across the street from each other. They don't even live in the same house. Now, they call that the Goldie Hawn. And Diddy loves that. And he's like, I think I'm going to call it, instead of getting married, I want a love contract. That's what I got. So Diddy calls his relationship with Cassie and said, He's not thinking about getting married, but he wanted a love contract and said, I think you got to be ready for it. There's somebody else's heart involved. There's a lot of responsibility. And I don't want to be going to courts and having somebody be like interfering in my relationships. So I'd rather just do the Goldie Hawn. He says a love contract. I just got a text message. Sorry. He said a love contract. It does involve money. Don't worry. And, but it's not a prenuptial agreement, but whatever floats your boat, But a love contract is something that he's talking about, which is basically a contract demanding the longer you stay with me or to do this is what you're doing. You're like putting in an investment. So if it does not work out or the contract is up, you leave and you leave with this. And that's that. Can't come back to get anything other than. So that was the love contract. And it wasn't enough. Then it got to the point where Diddy wanted a kid. Diddy wanted another child. And she was wanting to have kids, and she always talked about having a family and everything. But she didn't want to have kids if she wasn't married. That was her thing with Diddy. She wanted to be married, and that was that. And Diddy was not the type to commit. And one day they get into a huge, huge fight where the police were called and all of these things, and then they were sent back because it was like blown out of proportion. And the two took a break from each other, got back together. Diddy was looking at a possible domestic case. It was crazy. But they always got back together because in the end, Cassie couldn't break away. She couldn't break away from the materialistic things that she claimed, that she, craved. She wanted that. But as she got older, things changed. The materialistic things, it was just like didn't mean anything anymore. Like the money didn't mean anything anymore. None of this stuff was meaning something to people, when you get older. So she just, everything was fine. Like they didn't even have a fight no more or anything. She just wanted out. She was done. And she knew Diddy was not finna marry her. And she wanted to be married. And she wasn't like into him anymore. She's like, I don't even know if I don't think I want to be married to you at all. And I don't want to have your kid. So it's done. And she knows, like, look, my clock is ticking. I want to have a child. I want to have a family. And you got to let me go. Diddy didn't want to let her go. But he knew this was a fight he couldn't win. He had to let her go. It was time. So the fashion lady who I spoke to on the phone today, who I can't name, told me that Cassie was one of the people that she loved to, basically showcase with some of her materials and some of her pieces that she put on Cassie, that Diddy helped set that up. And Cassie was always miserable. She's like, she'll be miserable and put on one of the biggest smiles in the world, but she was so unhappy. And I was like, wow, I did not know this. And she told me that Cassie and her were really tight. And I did not know that Cassie was Filipino. And she would cook and prepare some Filipino meals for Puffy. I was like, I did not know she could cook. I didn't know anything about this chick. She's like, oh yeah, she cooked. She did a lot of things. It was very talented, but she had different ideas and about business, and she actually contributed a lot to helping Puffy out. Like Diddy with I think some type of company that came out with their own fragrance, and she basically brought the deals and investors in. Like Cassie was actually doing things. So this stuff I didn't know. I always see her as the pretty face, the little model. She lay out, that's it. I didn't know she was active like that. So anyway, it is what it is, but it don't surprise me. And she got pregnant, and right away she got married to a guy Diddy hired. And she got close to him. She was looking for somebody who was into her and cared about her. She was looking for love at this point. She didn't care about the money no more. The money, the expensive, it didn't even matter. Diddy bought her an expensive gift when she got the news that she was having a baby. He bought all this expensive stuff. And then he gave her some type of bracelet thing. She sent it back. The bracelet. But the thing for the kid she kept, but the bracelet, sent it back. Now that's a new Cassie. Sent that back to Diddy. Like, nah, you take that. You take that. Take that. And I'll just keep this gift you got for the kid. But you can take that back because I'm not coming back. So, anyway, that's the real reason why it all happened in the fashion that it did. Diddy was a control freak, and when it comes to his women, he's very possessive on who they talk to, how they move, the whole nine. She wanted a family, wanted to get married and have kids. Diddy just wanted to have kids and no marriage, and I can do what I want to do and move how I want to move. And she's like, that's not gonna happen. So there you go. I'm out. Don't forget to support the page. Hit the Cash App up. Carceno's the name on the Cash App. Karceno. And like the video and subscribe. All those wonderful things. And I'm out.